Okay, y'all. Okay, family. Welcome to another episode of Peep Game TV and Keeping It Real Team Collaboration. I'm your man
Yo,
Shadi Ali,
yeah,
aka
yeah, yeah.
SRD, with my man Jay Sean, aka Mr. F Love. Let's get it.
Hey, hey, yeah. Another day, another dollar. I was I was listening to somebody talk and earlier, and somebody was saying whenever you try to make it, you got to just be patient. You got to be
Absolutely.
patient. You got to be patient, and you just got to keep doing what you're doing. You got to keep grinding, and that's what we doing here. You know,
Absolutely.
we gonna keep
Absolutely.
grinding. We gonna keep grinding. We gonna be here every week, and we gonna keep grinding.
You know, that's it.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just
you
wanted to say that.
you keep showing up, you keep reinventing yourself. That's what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, so like this is a reinvention for 3 weeks now. The gray, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rocking the
Hey,
gray.
look at this right here. We
Yeah,
all great.
yeah. So, but sometimes I might switch up on y'all family. I might throw the black back in there when I feel like it. You know what I mean? So right now, I just feel like rocking it like this. You feel me? So
Yep.
that's what it is. We all get to do what we want to do. A lot of times, not always the way we want to do it, but sometimes we do it. Whenever we can do it the way we want to do it, I mean, most times we happy.
You right about that.
You know. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. So, what's good with you this week, my brother?
Uh, just another week. Like I always say, it ain't enough. It ain't enough minutes in an hour. It ain't enough hours. In a day. You know what I mean? It's like it's you got it's always we always grinding. We always moving. Um, it
Y'all
seems like
subscribe, all right? Pardon me.
yeah.
Y'all subscribe. Y'all on there, subscribe on the channel. Please subscribe. Support a
It
brother. All
it
right,
seemed
family? Go
it's
ahead. Go ahead, my brother.
it seemed like it seemed like it's always hurry up and wait.
Yeah,
You know
that's it.
what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah,
Hurry up.
yeah,
Oh,
that's it.
a old army thing. You know what I mean? So I'm here. I'm ready to give the people a nice good hour.
Yeah.
A power hour.
For sure, for sure, for sure. Definitely ready to do that. As you said, I'll be looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing the people. You know, so like subscribe, family. We family now. You know what I mean? So it's like we come here to talk about family issues sometimes. Talk about how to move forward. How to get away from certain things that trouble us. It's about a little bit of everything. You
That's
know.
right.
So so
And
last week, go ahead.
no, I said they know how we do it. We just here.
Yeah, yeah. Last week, you know, you asked me, so I'll get to ask you.
Or you started off. Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I get to ask you what's going on? What's going on in the world today?
What it is.
Okay. And this thing is this question goes beyond just one variation, even though people look at it in one variation. What do you think, the world would be like if no one cheated?
That's a good question. And now I often put a lot of thought to that. You gotta really put a lot of thought to that. That's almost like saying, uh, what about if everybody looked the same? What about if everybody wore the same clothes? What about if everybody ate the same foods? Similar, but not, like that. And I'm gonna explain why the world is like that. You know what I mean? Let's put it like this. Imagine if it was no cheating in this world. Or let's single it out. Imagine if no men cheated in the world, right?
Right.
It it would be a hell of a lot of
Brother
it'd
Cut,
be
go ahead.
it'd be a hell of a lot of uh single women. If no men cheated in this world, it'd be a hell of a lot of single women out here. Hell of a lot of miserable women out here. A hell of a lot of miserable, uptight, sexually frustrated. It Just imagine that if no men cheated. So that means every man was true. So what about all the single ladies that's looking for men? What about all the ladies that that's out there that been I guess divorced or left by a man or something? They looking for a second rebound. They looking for a second chance at love. The pickings gonna be very slim. If every man was true, if no man cheated, I'm
Okay.
not sure that it would be a better world.
Okay. So now for you to say that, you got to say that you got to believe or know that the a ratio for women is larger than men.
Yeah, of
You
course.
and not everybody believe that.
It
Not
is.
everybody think that's a true statement. You know.
It is. It is a true. I think. Well, last time I heard, I don't know the exact, but the last time I heard, I think it was like 4-1 or 5-1, something like that. You know what I mean? So you got to think. If no men cheated, imagine for every percentage or 10 or whatever 10 women. I'll say 10, but I'm not sure. For every 10, for every no, for every 10 couples, it would be 4 single women. Or no, for every 4 couples, it would be 10 single women. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's a funny question though if you really thought about it. If no men cheated at all, how would the world be? You know what I mean? Would the world be better or would the
Yeah.
world be worse? You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
I think it would be worse.
I mean, so if you think it would be worse, then I mean, it's almost like the infidelity thing. It, what do you do then? If you believe it'll be worse, so how do you work the thing out where it's okay? It's not cheating if you don't sneak and do it. You know what I'm saying? Because I would imagine that's what makes it cheating because you're sneaking and doing it. Now, if all the women know what you're doing, are you cheating? If you got 4 women and they all know about that you got another woman, even if they don't know each other personally, are you cheating?
I don't think so because I just heard something the other day. I heard this lady on the internet, and she was saying that you know how swingers got swingers clubs when people
Right,
be swinging.
right.
The way she was talking about swinging, man, she convinced me that that might not be a bad thing. She like her and her husband they go to swingers parties
Right.
and they got that understanding. You know what I mean? That she could mess with somebody, or he could mess with somebody, or they could mess with somebody together. And the reason being that she understood that her husband get cravings for other things sometime, and he understood that she might get cravings for things. You know what I mean? And then on the flip side of that, that was keeping their marriage together. You know what I mean? So I guess to each their own,
Right,
but
right.
it's definitely something to think about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, as you said, so they're not being unfaithful. It's not being unfaithful because they are co-signing it. You know what I mean? They've given each other the okay.
I mean,
That
I don't know about that.
huh?
I don't
What?
know about that.
You don't know about what? If it's being unfaithful?
if 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 you go to a swingers club with your wife and you allow somebody to bang her, is that unfaithful? I mean, I, I still think it's unfaithful.
Why you think it's unfaithful? If she enjoy it, what
I
what?
I don't know it. I don't know it. Um if somebody if somebody put uh rat meat and mix it in your chicken and it tastes good, I mean, you still ate rat meat, right? You know what I mean?
But see, the difference is if they told me it was rat meat and I chose to eat it, that's the difference. If they didn't tell me it was rat meat and I ate it, then that would be
Deceive.
they cheated me. You know what I mean? They cheated me because they didn't give me the option to choose it.
So what you're saying is that if a married couple go to a swingers party or
Right,
event, and the husband allow his wife to have sex with a different person, I mean any couple, and the
right,
wife
right, right.
and the wife
Wife or husband,
allow
either or.
and the wife and the female allow her man to have sex with somebody, then it's not cheating.
Right, because
Well, it
from
got to be
my
called. Well, it's not. It got to be called something then.
from my opinion and my view, cheating is something done secretly. You don't know that they're doing it. Hence why cheating. Same thing is if a person swindle you out of some money and
Yeah,
you don't know that they swindled you. You know what I mean? They cheated you. You
yeah,
know what I'm saying? So it's a difference if you gave them the money and they didn't pay you back. They
yeah.
didn't cheat you. They just didn't pay you back.
Right, right.
So that's what I'm saying when it comes to choosing to do something, choosing to make a choice. I've heard on many occasions where women have said, "Give me the choice." You know what I mean? Let me choose. They were angry because the person didn't tell them that they were seeing somebody else. So now, if you tell them, they get the choice to either stay or walk away.
Mm.
You know what I mean? So that's the part about it where okay, if let's switch the question, what if everybody was honest about what they were doing? Would it make it a better world? If everybody was honest, like, okay, look, I you know, I want you, I love you, but I want and love somebody else too. Would that make it a better world?
I don't think so. Me, I don't.
Right. And why not?
Because too much. Because the truth hurts, and sometimes people lie to people to keep from hurting them.
And when people find out you lied, they still hurt. So now they're double hurt because now they're gonna say to you, "Oh, why you didn't tell me the truth? Why you lied to me?" So
Mm.
so now you stuck with the choice of smacking them with the truth or kissing them with a lie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Basically, yeah. Basically, it's a really a tough question, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's good dialogue. But
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go ahead, go ahead. Let's get into
moving,
something else now. Let's
moving,
get on
yeah,
another
yeah.
question, man. We done gave
Moving
that
right,
up.
moving right along.
What's going on,
And and
Neff? What's going on, DJ Cut?
and also I would that's something I would like somebody else to speak on other than me and you too to get other people's opinions. But moving
Yeah,
right along,
yeah, yeah.
um um let's switch it up for a minute and in another different kind of way.
Taking it in a different direction. Yeah, let's go ahead.
A little something.
Yeah, let's take it in a different direction, man. What's up, people? Subscribe.
Do,
You know, we appreciate you guys from coming to chill with us on this Friday, June 27th. You know, go ahead, brother. Drop it on
um
me, boy.
a lot of people deal with many different religions. Um some religions are sometimes they consider them saviors. Um, sometimes they not. Sometimes they consider cults. Sometimes they not. So many different religions out here. I forgot the number, how many. It's so many different religions. But most of the time, we all grew up in one certain religion, so we all got a knowledge and and experience in religion. But the the main question that always pops up when you're talking about religion is do you think religion has been more of a benefit or a setback for us as a society?
I think in some cases, it's, I think the benefit most times when it comes to religion is a personal benefit. I
Mm,
think it's a personal benefit for most people. Now, what I haven't seen when it comes to religion, or let me say, I don't see it enough of, is with people being able to exercise certain characteristics or certain qualities that religion um, pushes. You know what I mean? Religion pushes, feed the poor. How many people, are advocates of feeding the poor? Religion pushes basically doing good deeds, doing something good for a person.
right.
You know what I mean? How many people just out of the kindness of their heart just do something good for somebody? You know what I mean? That type of thing. So now, if you start seeing more of that, then I think it'll be a benefit. It'll be more of a benefit to society. However, the part that I see occur most is people judging other people based on their religious beliefs.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? So if you're a Christian, I'm a Muslim, and somebody else is an atheist, how do we judge each other based on our beliefs? Because what may seem right for me as a Muslim may not be right for you as a Christian. And it definitely may not be right for somebody who's an atheist.
mm,
And the same thing because I believe right and wrong is based on personal belief.
right.
You know what I mean? So if you believe certain things, then you'll say, that's right or that's wrong. You know, when people like, all right, we can say lying is wrong,
Right.
you know, But I read in the Bible, David lied. You know what I'm saying? And he was, he had a connection with God, but he lied for a certain purpose. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mhm.
so I've heard, through my mom, don't lie, tell the truth, this, that, and the other. But then when you reading, I'm thinking he lied to the king about about something, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but he lied. So it's like, is there something where lying is uh okay, you know, depending on your belief, depending on, the circumstances, as you said earlier, lying to protect somebody's feelings, lying to not, I mean, we can make reasons and excuses based on what we believe or how we think, that will make sense to us, but it won't make sense to another person. So I think in that aspect, when it comes to religion, it's best for us to be careful. I'd rather now where I'm at now in my mental and spiritual journey, rather than tell somebody they doing something right or wrong, I'd rather ask them, is it beneficial to you or is it detrimental to you?
Mm.
You know what I mean? So I ain't got to say right or wrong. Is it benefiting you or is it causing you hardship? So if we base it on benefit and hardship, then you know and we have to be careful with that, because what you're doing, as long as you're not taking something from somebody else to create hardship for them. You know what I mean? Because somebody would say, okay, I can benefit, like the stick up kid. The stick up kid can benefit from sticking somebody up. But now you didn't got to benefit from and cause somebody else a hardship.
Mm.
So there's there's I believe religion has its place. I I often hear people say that people went to heaven.
Yeah.
Now, according to the books, heaven is not just given to you. Has to be earned through action. So I think, our people actually putting in the actions to get there, to get to heaven. You know what I'm saying? Are we willing to put in the
Yeah.
work? Like you've heard the saying, everybody want to go to heaven, but nobody want to die. You know, so
Yeah.
that's just my view on it. I think, yeah, and in short, I think religion has its place and it has its benefits. We as individuals, it's just necessary for us to be careful how we push it on other people, and how we,
Definitely.
that's what I think it is.
That's definitely.
So
Uh, I pass on that one.
well, you had a lot of experience with it, brother.
Yeah, a lot.
So
A
you
lot.
might be biased with it, huh?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. You don't want to hear my answer on
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's something that it has been, because I had a problem with, giving when people say Jesus was God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was a problem for me. Why? Because I read the Bible, but I don't hear Jesus saying he's God. I don't hear
Right.
nowhere near him saying he's God. So where did that come from? And then another part that's curious for me. If you're called by God to do God's work or guide the people, why do you have to get ordained by man to preach God's word? That just
You could
that's just one of them things that make me go, hmm.
you could break down a lot of stuff in the Bible, man, if you really wanted to. You know, just like they said Jesus gave his life for us. You know, he was on the cross, they killed him, and
Right.
he gave his life so we all could live. But Jesus gave his life, and then 3 days later he was resurrected. He was back again. So explain that to me. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
they killed him for us to live, but 3 days later, he came back.
Right.
So you know what I mean. So he gave his life for us. He gave his life for us for 3 days, or you know
Right.
what I
Right.
mean. It's confusing,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
but
and basically, you got to remember, religion is based on belief, and belief
mm,
is not necessarily truth.
right,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
Alaikum salam, Neff. What's going on with you? Yeah, yeah. So that's basically what it is. It's it's a map if used correctly to guide
Mm,
people in a manner that would be helpful to all people. If we all took it wholeheartedly and followed the guidance, I believe.
right,
You
right,
know that
right.
that's what I really believe with it. And I don't think a lot of us do that. I think we use it as a tool to when it benefit us in certain aspects.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Moving right along,
yeah,
moving
moving
right
right
along.
along. Now we know that a person could love you, you know, and sometimes a person like that same love can kind of you know if you're doing the wrong way, it can seem like they hate you. Or like I like to say, the same thing make you happy, make you sad.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, you know, do you think it's a thin line between love and hate? And if so, what do you think caused that?
um, I know a lot. A lot of stuff is old sayings, nursery rhymes, um, things that been repeated over and over. Because I used to hear that all the time. It's a thin love between love and hate, but I never knew what it meant. But I
Right,
used to hear it a lot.
right,
Like, and there's probably a lot of people listening right now or gonna listen. They be like, they don't know what that really means. It's a thin line between love or hate. They don't really know what it means. But after living more and doing the knowledge more and living it, living love and and hate, I know that the reason they say it's a thin line between love and hate because they both emotions. They both strong emotions. Love is a strong emotion and hate is a strong emotion. Why they say it's a thin line between love and hate is because you know how sometimes you can meet somebody and you could be in a relationship with you and then you could start loving them. But then something could go wrong and just like that you could start hating them. But the thing is the 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 power or the not the power the what's the word for it I'm looking for? the energy, or
The magnetic
I
pull,
can't think of I
the
can't think of
magnetic
it right
pull.
now, but
Right,
yeah, the same strength that love got is the same strength that hate got. So that's why you see sometimes when people love somebody one minute and then the next time they hate somebody. You know what I mean? Because that's why they say it's a thin line between love or hate. Like I used to didn't understand that. Because if you really research a lot of stuff, right, Sean?
right,
Most people, not everybody, but most times when people is killed, they killed by somebody who loved them. Relationship stuff. You know
right.
what I mean? So you could love somebody so much that you killed them. Or the same thing, you hated somebody so much that you killed them. Or you love somebody so much and they hurt you so bad that you unalive them. You know what I mean? So when people hear, or when y'all hear this, people say it's a thin line between love and hate. That's what they mean. They mean they both got the same energy. Love got the same energy. Hate got the same energy, strong energy. Um, it take a lot to love somebody, and it take a lot to hate somebody. Um, but they both could flip like that. You could go from loving somebody to hating them just like that. And that's the reason why they say it's a thin line between love and hate.
Okay,
And maybe a lot of us been there before.
so the word you was using that you was looking for, the intensity, the intensity
Yeah,
of it. Okay,
yeah,
all
yeah.
right,
So because a lot I have heard that a lot of times, like it's a thin line between love or hate, but
yeah,
I never, me personally, I never knew what it meant. Like
yeah,
years and years ago, I never knew what it meant
yeah. They
until
had
I
the
actually
song. They
found
had the
out.
song in the movie.
Yeah, it was the name of a movie.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the song in the movie.
Yeah. But
Neff says not the he said it's not the emotional impact, it's the action behind it. You know what I mean? Now I think Neff, that the action behind it, whatever action, kind of creates the emotional impact. You know what I mean?
mm,
Because love is an action word. You know, you can tell somebody you love them, but they need to see it or feel it. And they can
mm,
only see it or feel it through, as you say, through the action. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Through the action. So yeah, so you got it. You get the action is definitely the action is definitely important, but because it creates the emotion for me. That's how I see it. You know, I mean, people say
yeah.
like they just saw somebody and just fell in love with them. You know, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't know about that.
Um, all right, moving right along. Thanks for the comments too. Let's see.
And before you ask this, I wanted to read what he said. He said, he agreed. Some people don't know, you know, some people don't know what the action of love is. You know what I mean? Basically, he's saying some people don't know how to show love. You know,
That's real. That's true.
yeah, exactly. If a lot of people want it, but a lot of people don't know how to show it. And I think once we as a society learn how to show love better, we'll have a better society.
A lot better. Um. Okay. Um. A lot of people might answer this one different. Um. A lot of people might. this a question you gotta be biased about. You gotta like put yourself in a lot of people's shoes. Well, I mean, you don't have to, but you can answer it from a one way, or you can answer it from a lot of different ways. But because it's said so many different ways and in so many different places by so many different people, so it's really like a hard question. But I'm gonna ask you anyway. Do you think America do you think that America has ever been great?
Mm. Do I think America has ever been great? I would say it has the potential, but I haven't seen the greatness in the way that I would define the greatness. You know what I mean? Because its ideology, liberty and justice for all, that's a great ideology.
Mm-hmm.
However, America doesn't live up to it. She doesn't live up to liberty and justice for all. Because if she did, there wouldn't be people feeling oppressed. There wouldn't be people um, prejudiced just based on nationality or skin color or financial status. You know what I'm saying? So greatness to me is where everybody feels like they got an equal opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
and and not only feel it, but they when they interact and try to aspire to something, they see it. They see that, okay, look, I'm going to treat you just like I treat the next person. You know what I mean? I'm not giving you no special benefits. I'm not giving that person no special benefits. Everybody going to gain based on their merit. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's going to be rewarded based on their effort. And I don't see that happen. I've worked at jobs where I bust my butt and walked away with a little bit of bread, you know? So when I say that, I'm not just saying it just out of you know uh, something I believe. No, I'm basing it on something that I know. I know there are not just me, other people work hard every day, do back breaking work, but not getting the wages that the job, you know, uh, deserves. That they're not getting the wages that the job that they earn based on the hardship of the job. Put it that way. You know what I mean? Based on the hardship of the job, they're not getting the wages to equal the workload, and that in itself diminishes the greatness. Now there are other people who are. There are other people who are, getting their just, getting what they actually work for. And then there's some people who do minimum work. When I was working at Nabisco. So and not just but I think it's based on us as a society. We've been manipulated to go against each other rather than embrace each other's differences and work together towards trying to make it better for all of us, because everybody got a family. Everybody want their family to be fed. Everybody want to sleep in a nice bed. You know what I mean? Everybody want food on their table. You know, at least a large majority of us. You know, I
Yeah,
don't think nobody. I don't think nobody don't want the best for their family. You know, very few people, if that.
yeah,
Yeah. So that's my thing. I think it has the potential to be great. I don't think it has been great. There's been times where it was better. You know, when we were growing up, I believe it was better as far as certain jobs you were able to get where you're not able to get now. So I think, and you got to think about the cost of living. The cost of living is sky high, but is the wages sky high? Is the wages increasing as the cost of living increases? That tells you right there.
yeah. That's a good statement.
So Neff said, theory over application. Uh, we have had the potential to become some, but we can't do to the lack of accountability. Forget slavery. Remember 911 and abide by the laws becoming a, what was that? A statistic. Yeah, I mean, slavery, for me, slavery is a touchy subject for me, Neff, because when I think of slavery, I look at what was slavery all about? Slavery was about profit. It was about money. It was about control.
Right.
It was about one people having power over another people, you know, based on those people owning everything. So when you look at that, how has it really changed when it comes to us? How much do we really own? I mean, even the stuff you own, you still paying somebody to own it. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
so so that's the part about me that with the slavery thing that makes me like, uh, they still got us in a cross. America, our adopted mother America and her husband, you know what I'm saying? The United States, they still got us in a cross until we can say this is our land and we control certain aspects of it whole wholly and solely on our own, then I still think we are still under the guidelines of slavery.
yeah. I agree. I definitely agree.
Yeah, Neff. Yeah, well, that's what it is. It's you got to look at America as to me. I like to say America is a prostitute. She sell herself for the highest bidder. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? She sell herself for the highest bidder, and she do tricks for the highest bidder. And the highest bidders are those rich people that you're talking about without the morals and values. That's only about money, where they'll feed you anything, they'll give you anything because they want the money. You know, that's what it is.
As a fact, make America is America.
What he said, make America great again. That's
Yeah,
what,
I
that's
mean,
that's what he said, make it great again. And when I first heard that, I was like, I don't know when I could say it was great.
yeah, me either.
So that's the thing. 200 is going on, and see the tricky part about this too, Nev, is they we've been taught here in America by the United States that we were slaves for 400 years, and America is about to be 250 years old. So How were we slaves for 400? The math don't math. You know what I mean? The math don't add up. How come we've been slaves for 400 years and America didn't even exist for 400 years? So that tells us something. We got to watch. We got to watch how they playing. We got to peep the game. Right now, we really under the slave thing because look, before we get our money, they United States take some. You know what I mean? They tell us, "Give me that from the door." And if you don't give it to them, what they do? They come get you. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So are you really free? You know, so that's the thing right there. So here we are paying somebody else to live in a land that our ancestors once owned. And they told us, and this is the key right here, Nev. This is why they told us they brought us on ships so we could be comfortable paying them to stay in a land that was already ours by birthright. You know, so that's another story. All right, let's get to the next one, brother. We got about 15 minutes.
All right.
All right, so most people, from your shows know that you've been married, twice.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so, and before I ask the question, I just want to ask you another question. Both times you got married, was either time your idea? Was it something that you just said, "Look, hey, babe, let's get married"? Was either one of those your decision?
No.
Okay. All right. So, with that being said, my question is: since you've been married twice, do you think that you would ever be willing to get married again?
Um. See me, I had the best of both worlds because I had a small wedding and I had a big wedding. But when they over, it all mean the same. That's what I learned from it. I learned that you could have a big wedding or you could have a small wedding, but when it's the end, all that don't mean nothing. Would I get married again? It would have to be some extreme circumstances. I mean, extreme, in order for me to just say I found a lady who had the same um aspirations as me, um motivations as me, um same sexual preferences as me.
Right.
Um it would take a lot, but I can tell you this: if I would ever get married again, I would want to know the woman's whole background. I would want to know how many brothers she got, how many sisters she got, how many jobs she been at, how many times she worked, what her mother did for a living, what her father did for a living, where her mother was from, how many brothers and sisters she had, where her mother and father was from, where her father's mothers and fathers was from, what street they grew up on, and what street did they come there from. And
So
I
so why would you want to know all of that? Why would that be so important to you now?
because check this out. In like 2004, I met this guy from Bangladesh. I was in a computer school in Passaic. He was telling me when he got married that whenever he went out with his wife, they had a chaperone. He's from Bangladesh. They had
Right.
chaperones. They used to have dinner with him, his fiance, her mother and father, his mother and father. Several dinners.
Had the Wali. Yeah, Islam.
Who?
That's what Neff saying. Call it the
Well,
Wali. You have an escort.
oh yeah. And the families get together, Shah, and the mother and father get together, and they mother and father, and they talk, and they get to know each other. Not on one occasion,
Several.
several occasions. And and it's a good point. At first, I thought that when he first told me, it's like 2002. When he first told me that, I was laughing at him. I thought it was like the stupidest thing, stupid, out of touch with reality,
Right.
um, out of touch with time. Um, I just had all bad vibes about it.
Right.
But after two marriages and two divorces, I understand now because you have to know a person's background. I mean, it's sad, but it's true. You might be from a two-parent household where your father was a doctor and your mother was a school teacher,
Right.
and then you fall in love with somebody, a female who didn't have a father and her mother was an alcoholic.
Right.
Yo, you might meet somebody and you might have didn't have sex till you was like 15, but she was being molested since she was like 7. You follow me where I'm going?
No, absolutely, absolutely,
if
absolutely.
if you're not compatible with somebody, it's not gonna work. If you don't find out um a lot of things about people, it's not gonna work. And that's not just me talking, that's experience talking. I'm not saying in every situation,
No, no, yeah.
nothing,
We all know that. We all know in every situation there's exceptions for every rule. You
right.
know what I mean? Now, what you're saying is valid, and what you're saying is a good point. I mean, the reality is we used to do that. See, we got away from that. See, we started buying into the propaganda of slavery took away our traditions.
Right.
We brought into the propaganda, but we've had traditions. We just got away from the traditions. You know what I mean? We've had traditions passed down, but we've turned away from them and created new ones that don't work so well.
Yep.
And this is why we are suffering, you know, as we are now, because we didn't turned away from traditions. There was a time that, remember, before a woman dated a guy, the guy had to meet the family. You had to meet the family. You had to sit down, have dinner. You got to get to know their family.
I
You
used
know
to
what I'm
eat. I
saying?
used to eat. I used to eat dinner with my first wife family. I used to eat dinner with them.
Yeah,
you know. No,
yeah.
so what I'm saying is you right. Like we got away from that. Hey, Shop, we at the. I mean, everybody know we up there. They can see the gray.
Right.
But I know you know what I'm talking about when I say I remember when we used to have to go to a female house and you had to sit in the living room.
Absolutely.
you had
Absolutely.
you had to sit in the living room with her little brother and her little sister, and that was the date right there. Her mother was
Yeah,
walking around,
yeah,
or
yeah,
her father was mean mugging you, and
yeah,
you
yeah,
sitting on the couch. You sitting on one chair, and they sitting on the other chair. Or
yeah. Hey, but see, and that's the thing. But see, the thing about that is, if a baby came about, they knew. You know
they
what I'm
know.
saying? They knew who it was, and they knew where to come. You know what I'm saying? See, now when it comes to babies, you got women having babies, and you never even saw the guy.
Yep.
You don't even know who he is, and she didn't had a baby by him. And now, when the baby's born, he don't want to show his face. You don't. You may be walking by him every day,
Yeah.
but because you never met him, you don't know it. So some of our traditions is necessary for us to get back to. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? We get back to our traditions and you know not continue to allow propaganda to tell us that we don't have any traditions because we lost them in slavery.
So the bottom line is that's what I was saying. So the bottom line for me to get married again, I would have to do an ancestry,
Ancestry background check.
ancestry.com. I want to know. I want to know if she lost her virginity in the back seat of a Pinto. I want to know if. Nah. That's where we mess up at, man.
Yeah, no, it's and see the other part of it is when you get married, we have a tendency to say you just married a person, but if the person's really connected to the family, you're marrying that family too. You know what I'm saying? So that's how they become in-laws, and we fail to realize that if you marry somebody, you got to interact with their family if they got a family, or if you marry a person that don't have a family, then what? You know what I'm saying? Now it's a problem because now they're gonna be pulling you away from your family. So
Yup.
I get what you're saying, and I get the necessity behind it. You
Yeah.
know, so yeah, I definitely agree with you when it comes to you know being mindful of who you're dating and what, especially if you long term it. And I think the biggest misconception that we deal with in society now is getting into bed rather than getting into somebody's head. You know what I'm saying? I think that's the number one tragedy of why relationships are not working now. You know what I mean? Because face it, if you don't know what's on a person's mind or what aspirations, as you said, and what insecurities and all of that they have, then what do you how do you deal with it once the sex is done? You know what I mean? And sex, I mean a good night you could get an hour, maybe two. You know what I'm saying? A good night. Okay, you still got 22 hours left. What are you gonna do the rest of those 22 hours? You know what I mean? So people be get so we get it twisted because we got to remember America. You know what do she push? She pushes sex.
Yup.
Everything is sex, 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 sex. It ain't about love. It ain't about love. It's about sex. It's about, okay, let's bang. You know what I mean? After we bang, then what?
Yeah.
Where do we go from there? We go our separate ways, or we start squabbling, or we love the sex, but we don't like the person.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So only thing we good for is having sex together. So now you got sex and babies, but now you don't have no foundation. You just got babies out of a, you know, just a sex thing.
Yeah.
And you get and we wonder why society is the way it is. You know what I'm saying? So that's
Yeah.
just what we're dealing with. But that's it for us tonight, brother. Go ahead and let the people know. And we
Um,
appreciate all of you from watching. And
our time be going so fast.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
um, yeah, I'm gonna go on Facebook. I don't know how long I'm gonna go because I'm going fishing tomorrow, but I'm gonna go on Facebook Live for a minute and TikTok. Um, last week I had a I fell asleep on the show. Ain't no way to say it in a no better way. I fell asleep
You took an
on
early
the show.
dose.
I fell asleep and we just got to make sure that don't happen no more. I took precautions to make sure that don't happen anymore. Um, so hopefully it won't happen. If it does, I'll be able to be woken up. So I took precautions to make sure that that don't happen no more because it's embarrassing, and it's not just embarrassing. Like last week we was having a really good show when I
Right.
dozed off. So
Okay.
it's a blessing and a curse. But anyway, I'll be on TikTok in about what time? In about 15 minutes, and I'll be on Facebook Live. TikTok at JSean763 and Facebook Live Randy J. Sean Jackson.
Okay. And I'd like to thank you all again. Those of you, if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. If you haven't followed, follow. Um, Neff, it's been a pleasure. C, it's been a pleasure. DJ Cut, it's been a pleasure. Hopefully see you all next week along with some of your friends or some of your family members. You know what I mean?
Cut
So
cut having the Atlanta Patterson in August 1st.
uh I don't know. I imagine he is. Wasn't
The
that
hottest damn day.
oh
What nephew was that on, Sha?
uh Lil Joaquin.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, yeah,
Peace.
yeah. He said he leaving with it's only about sex. It's promoted everywhere. As I was saying, it's looked upon as an emotional to the physical connection.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, Nefta, and that's something we have to work on. Like it's no longer can we continue to let America dictate to us what we should be culturally. It's time for us to dictate our own culture and what we feel is best for us. That's what time it is for us, you
Yep.
know? So until next time, leave you all with peace.
Peace.
Peace, man.